exfiltrate data by alternately display light and dark data on an LCD screen. So there is the computer and there is an LCD screen, and if the malware can display anything on the screen, it will display a white image or a black image. This difference can be picked up on the outside. It will turn on and off a camera flashlight. Many laptops have a camera, and next to it there is a small LED that will light my face as I'm doing Skype. If the virus can turn on and off, it will change the lighting in the room. You can turn on and off the background keyboard light, turn on and off status lights such as caps lock. But all of these are very, very weak kind of signals. So what I like about the scanners, first of all, it's the same machine, same device which is used for exfiltrating and infiltrating. And the other is that the source of light is fairly significant. Okay. The main technical problem, we tried to use this technique, but we encountered problems in reality. We were standing in the parking lot, looking up at the window on the fourth floor, and there was a little bit of light turned on, but the light came from under the scanning glass. You know, all those scanners, flatbed scanners, the light is coming from below, and while looking at it, you can easily pick up that the light turned on. Looking at it upwards from where we were standing was very, very difficult. So we were sketching our heads, but we had some budget left, so we did the following. Anyone sees this? It was just an excuse to buy the Phantom Vision 2. Phantom 2 Vision. So that's a quadcopter costing several $100. A wonderful device which has a camera, video camera, which is stabilized with gyroscopes, and you can program it to go through any particular path. It has a GPS, and you can tell it, go to that point, hover there for 5 minutes, go to that point, hover there, you can change the height, you can control it. So this is a picture taken during the day from the same, in the same building. By the way, no one ever noticed that there are strange quadcopters flying around that building. Here is how it looks like. This is the quadcopter, and this is the control, and here's the screen where you can see what's going on. And now I'm going to show you a video which was taken literally last night. We started doing these experiments 2 days ago, and last night we were trying to pick up some initial results. And the initial results are somewhat problematic. I'll show you in a minute. This is the video taken from this quadcopter as it is flying above. It's just a few seconds long. Do it again. You see, it's fairly stabilized. There is a particular office that you are looking at and you're trying to pick up a thing, but it's still shifting a little bit. And the biggest problem is that if you want to be at any reasonable distance from the building, those them things are designed to look through a fisheye camera. So why do people buy it? In order to ski or surf or do something. And then this quadcopter will fly 10 meters above their head and show what wonderful slaloms they're doing while skiing. We wanted it to be hundreds of meters away and look at a particular window. And this fisheye is just the opposite of what we wanted. So we tried to attach all kinds of long zooms in front of the camera to make it look only in that particular window, but the gimbal just fell. It was too heavy and couldn't hold it. So we're now buying another camera which will have a long zoom. We didn't get it yet. And then we will be able to be a kilometer away and look through the, look at the particular building, the area of the window which is of interest. Right now, the scanner is about 1 or 2 pixels. And that's not good enough in order to really see whether light is turned on or off. But once we get the better camera, it will work. So here is the actual thing. You see, this is the room we were attacking, and here there is the scanner. This is a large view. But the whole thing is a fisheye, so it's too small. Okay, so Once we replace the fisheye with a long zoom camera, we can really concentrate and get a good picture. What we plan to do is we will match successive video frames to eliminate the jitter. You saw that the picture is not completely stable, but because we are always looking at the same building, it's very easy to compare one frame to the next frame and make sure that we always know where we are looking at without it moving. Then you can average the light intensity over many frames to overcome flickering over time. So it might be that because I'm far away, there might be more interference, more dust or less dust. So the amount of light will flicker, but because I expect over the next few seconds the scan to be to emit the same amount of light, you'll be able to average, therefore the flickering will also. Anyway, we will look for small light changes because once we average the intensity over several seconds, hundreds of frames, we will be able, I hope, to determine whether the light intensity is, I don't know, 67 or 68. You might be able to detect very small changes in the amount of light, which the human eye will not notice. If you notice, let me go back to the video. So actually, there is a scanner being turned on, but I'm sure that you will not notice, first of all, because it is too small, and B, because the difference in the amount of light is very small. Something is changing there, but you have to be very, very, to know exactly what is going on in order to pick it up. But once we will be able to have a good zoom lens, good image processing, we are sure that we'll be able to get the amount of light. Okay, so time to wrap up. We developed and experimentally verified a new technique. We call it scan gate. You know, there are many gates. Watergate, there was an Applegate not long ago. Now this is a scan gate, which we can use in order to solve the holy grail of cyber attacks, which is how to achieve bidirectional communication with a computer system which is not connected to anything, but doesn't have any modified hardware, but has a malware already inserted. And finally, if you are running a high security computer system, throw away your all-in-one printers. Scanner is a very, very dangerous part. Make sure that you use only the simplest possible scanners, and even then, against the exfiltration attacks, I told you that there are many other vectors which could be used in order to exfiltrate data. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a few minutes for questions.
You want to remember to send that to you. Why don't you use the infrared camera and make the computer hotter or cooler by using more CPU?
That's an approach that had been tested by Yuval in another kind of cyber attacks. The problem is that the delay, the amount of time, the rate at which you can send bits is extremely small. If you are looking at the temperature in the room, and you turn on the computer making it work harder, for example, it will heat up the room a little bit more. Normally it's 20 degrees, but if the computer is working very hard, due to the malware, the temperature will go up to 20.5. The problem is that it will take many minutes for this to happen. The differences in temperature are very low, and if the room is ventilated, there is air conditioning working, it will not work. So it's a vector that we thought about, but it's much inferior to Skype.
Did you actually discover the problem with Windows, not the scanners?
Why Windows? Because they're transparent to infrared lights.
Windows, it wouldn't be a problem.
Okay. So of course, if the building is totally opaque, has no windows whatsoever, you are protected against this kind of optical communication. But if you look at all the pictures I showed of the interesting buildings, all of them have many, many windows. Okay. Look at every one of them, the Pentagon, GCHQ. I looked at the close-up of the GCHQ building, many, many windows. No one likes to work in a black room. Sorry?
The computers are in the center.
Doesn't matter. What I'm using is the printer. The printer is in the office. I assume that you have a personal printer in the office. The office has a window with some shades, which are not completely done. Yes?
It's an assumption that the top of the scanner is open. And you
Yes.
need to have a collaborator inside the building.
Okay. I agree that it is much better to have the scanner half open, because this is when the incoming light is reflected in the best possible way. However, I did some statistics, and I looked around at the scanners at the Weizmann Institute, the printers actually, and I must say that about 1/3 of them are naturally in a half open.
אל תיגע בזה כי זה מצלם וזה...
Do this experiment.
זה
People just
כפופת
leave
פנימה.
it half open because they're not aware of the data. Now, even if it was closed, it is not closed in a way which is totally light tight. So I expect that with an even stronger laser light, you will still notice a little bit of light in the periphery. Yes?
If there's a vulnerability in the printer itself, in the scanner itself, and there's been many such vulnerabilities in the past, you'll be able to directly control the light, and then you can have much better bandwidth and even bidirectional communication.
I agree. We looked at all the open source drivers that we could find for a variety of scanners. Scanners which are connected to Linux, in many cases have open source drivers to them. Most of them did not have a way to say turn on the light in a stronger way or in a weaker way. You can turn on the light or you cannot turn on the light. And those scanners that we looked at, we didn't find a way. But of course, if I could modulate it, I will have a much higher benefit. It's a good idea, but I couldn't use it.
For infiltration, you actually don't need the light for the mechanical scanner. You just need to turn on the...
I would prefer the light to not exist.
understand, so you don't need to modulate. You just, if in the driver, you can just not turn on the light, not do anything physical.
Right. So if the soft interface of the scanner will allow you to do a scan without a light, then the advantage is that it will not arouse suspicion, because someone who is passing by the office at 2 a.m. will not notice that anything strange is happening. And on top of it, the sensitivity to light coming from the outside will be much better. We are actually fighting against the fact that locally there is a strong source of light, and we are adding a little bit of light or not adding a little bit of light. So relatively speaking, the light modulation that we affect from a distance is small. If we could make the room totally dark during the scanning process, then we will have light coming from the outside, which will be much more sensitive. Yes?
You can use the holy grail, but I can't...
Not the solution, the problem.
Yeah, I think you can use whatever holy grail, but you don't have the network in the hand. Do you have any ideas for...
I was very careful in choosing my words. Let me show you the definition. So, the holy grail is to communicate with an air-gapped computer system in an inaccessible location where, okay, you're right. This should have been taken out of the definition. So, the problem is to establish communication using only standard untempered hardware where the attacker is far away and when you want bidirectional communication. Then you say that the problem I saw is a sub-problem of the Holy Grail where you are allowed to use malware. Without that malware, it's much harder. I have to think about it. What's the question from here? Yes.
Aren't truly unreachable sites underground